Anger is a fire that burns hot and fast, but it often leaves us scorched in its aftermath. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When it comes to controlling your temper, this simple truth is your starting point. Anger doesn't come from what happens to you, it comes from how you choose to respond. Think back to the last time you lost your temper. Maybe it was a heated argument with a loved one or a frustrating encounter at work. In that moment, it might have felt like you had no control, like the anger was in the driver's seat. But the reality is, your emotions didn't hijack you. You handed over the keys. Recognizing this is not about guilt, but empowerment. If you caused your anger, then you can learn to control it. The first step in mastering your temper is learning to pause. Seneca advised, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." When emotions flare, take a moment, just a breath or two, to create space between the stimulus and your reaction. This pause can be the difference between a thoughtful response and a regrettable outburst. It's like standing at a crossroads where one path leads to calm and the other to chaos. By pausing, you give yourself the chance to choose wisely. Let's consider a practical scenario. Imagine someone at work undermines you in a meeting. The immediate reaction might be to snap back, defending yourself with sharp words. But what if instead you paused? What if you let their words hang in the air without immediately engaging? This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means giving yourself the time to assess them. Are they worth your energy? Are they even about you, or more a reflection of the other person's insecurities? By not reacting impulsively, you reclaim your power. To help solidify this habit, develop a physical cue, a deep breath, a brief count to 5, or even stepping back physically. These small actions remind you to slow down. Over time, they become your automatic response, creating a buffer between you and your temper. This practice isn't about denying anger, but reframing it. Anger is often a signal that something feels wrong or unjust. Use that signal as a guide. Ask yourself, what value is being threatened here? Does this situation require action, or is it better to let it go? By interrogating your anger, you shift from being controlled by it to controlling it. Ultimately, controlling your temper is about protecting your peace. When you let anger dictate your actions, you hand over your inner calm to external forces. But when you master your response, you reinforce the Stoic principle of living in harmony with reason and virtue. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By learning to control your temper, you take a significant step toward true freedom. Now, reflect on this. How often do you allow anger to steer your actions, and how might your life change if you took back the reins? Every time you resist the pull of anger, you grow stronger, calmer, and closer to the person you want to become. Master your temper, and you'll find that what once felt like chaos becomes clarity. When anger strikes, it often feels like a flash of lightning, sudden, intense, and blinding. The danger lies in how quickly it can push us into action, often leading to regret. But the Stoics taught us a timeless antidote: reflection. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. These things are not asking to be judged by you. Leave them alone." Reflection creates space for clarity, turning reaction into thoughtful response. Think of a moment when anger led you to act without considering the consequences. Perhaps you let your temper flare in a conversation, saying something that damaged a relationship. These moments remind us that reflection isn't a luxury, it's a necessity for navigating life with wisdom. Imagine this. You're in a tense argument with a close friend. Voices rise, tempers flare, and you feel the urge to say something sharp, something you know will hurt. This is the moment where reflection becomes your shield. Instead of speaking, take a moment to breathe. Ask yourself, what outcome am I seeking here? Will my words build a bridge or burn it? Often, this pause is enough to redirect your thoughts and choose a path that aligns with your values. The Stoics believed in the power of reason to guide action. Seneca wrote, "An uncontrolled passion for arguing is only anger in disguise." Reflection helps us uncover the root of our emotions. Is your anger justified, or is it masking deeper feelings like fear or insecurity? By understanding the true source of your frustration, you gain the power to address it constructively rather than letting it fester or explode. To cultivate this habit, consider keeping a journal. Writing down your thoughts, especially during moments of anger, allows you to step back and view your emotions from a distance. It's like holding up a mirror to your mind, revealing patterns and triggers that you might not notice in the heat of the moment. Over time, this practice trains you to reflect more naturally, even in high-pressure situations. Reflection also teaches us to prioritize what truly matters. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every slight deserves a response. Epictetus reminds us, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. By reflecting, you reclaim control, deciding where to invest your energy and attention. In practicing reflection, you not only avoid unnecessary conflict, but also strengthen your character. Every time you pause to consider your actions, you align yourself with the Stoic ideal of living in harmony with reason and virtue. It's not about suppressing emotions, but guiding them toward constructive outcomes. So, take this with you. The next time anger stirs within you, let reflection be your anchor. Pause, think, and choose your response with care. By doing so, you transform anger from a destructive force into a tool for self-improvement, one choice at a time. In reflection, you find wisdom. In wisdom, you find peace. The Stoics often emphasized the importance of understanding human nature. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize?" This principle is key to managing anger, learning to accept the flaws and imperfections of others. People are shaped by their experiences, upbringing, and circumstances. These factors influence their behavior, often in ways beyond their control. By recognizing this, we free ourselves from the unrealistic expectation that others will act according to our standards. Anger often arises when reality clashes with our expectations. If you can learn to expect that people will sometimes falter, act selfishly, or make mistakes, you'll be less likely to react with frustration. Imagine a colleague repeatedly missing deadlines on a shared project. Your first instinct might be anger. After all, their behavior directly affects your workload. But instead of letting frustration take over, pause and reflect on their perspective. Are they overwhelmed with responsibilities, struggling with personal issues? This isn't about excusing poor behavior, but understanding that it's rarely about you. Empathy is a shield against anger. The Stoics remind us that accepting the nature of others doesn't mean tolerating harm or injustice. Seneca advised, "A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not." When dealing with difficult people, this means setting realistic expectations and adjusting your responses accordingly. You can acknowledge someone's nature while protecting your boundaries. It's also worth remembering that just as others have flaws, so do we. Accepting this truth fosters humility. If we expect perfection from others, we should first examine ourselves with the same scrutiny. When we shift our mindset to see people as works in progress, just like ourselves, we soften the sting of anger and cultivate patience. This practice isn't easy, but it's liberating. By accepting people as they are, rather than as we wish them to be, we protect our peace. As Epictetus said, people are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them. The next time someone's actions tempt you to anger, remind yourself that their behavior reflects them, not you. Your power lies in how you choose to respond. In accepting others' nature, you create space for understanding, empathy, and personal growth. You stop wasting energy trying to change what you cannot control, and focus instead on mastering your own reactions. The result is a life lived with more harmony and less conflict. It's a natural human impulse to want to correct others when we see them stumble. We might feel a sense of obligation or even pride in offering our unsolicited advice. But the Stoics warned against this inclination. Epictetus wisely said, "Is it not enough to be your own master? Must you also seek to rule over others?" This sentiment forms the foundation of the Stoic principle to leave other people's mistakes to them. When someone makes a mistake, it's their journey, not yours. Their error, their consequences. By intervening unnecessarily, we often do more harm than good, not just to the other person, but to ourselves. Think about how much frustration you felt trying to fix someone who wasn't ready or willing to change. The anger, the disappointment, the sense of futility, it's all unnecessary suffering that you could have avoided by simply stepping back. Picture a friend who keeps making poor financial decisions despite your repeated warnings. You've advised them to budget, save, or avoid certain expenses, but they continue to struggle. Each time, you feel a pang of irritation or anger because it feels like they're ignoring your efforts. But what if, instead of letting their choices anger you, you let go? What if you accepted that their mistakes are theirs to learn from? This doesn't mean abandoning empathy or refusing to help when genuinely asked. It means recognizing that growth often comes from personal experience, not external correction. When you allow others to face the consequences of their actions, you give them the opportunity to learn and grow. Interfering may rob them of that essential process. Seneca once said, "The mind that is anxious about the future is miserable." This applies when we fret over others' choices, trying to control outcomes that are not ours to manage. Instead of bearing the burden of someone else's mistakes, use that energy to refine your own life. Focus on your own growth, your own mastery, your own peace. Leaving other people's mistakes to them doesn't mean you lack compassion. On the contrary, it shows respect for their autonomy and their ability to navigate their own lives. You can offer support and advice, but the ultimate responsibility is theirs. This mindset also protects your own peace. You're no longer carrying the weight of their decisions, freeing yourself from unnecessary frustration. Next time you feel the urge to intervene in someone else's mistakes, pause. Ask yourself, is this truly my responsibility, or am I overstepping? By leaving their errors to them, you honor their journey and safeguard your serenity. As you focus on your own path, you'll find that life becomes lighter, freer, and far more peaceful. Healthy boundaries are the invisible lines that protect your inner peace and define how you allow others to treat you. The Stoics understood the importance of these boundaries for maintaining harmony in relationships and within oneself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. While this quote often applies to external challenges, it also speaks to the importance of setting limits to ensure obstacles, like disrespect or overreach, don't derail your mental clarity. In our interconnected world, it's easy for people to intrude on your time, emotions, or energy. Without boundaries, you may find yourself overwhelmed, frustrated, or even angry. These emotions often arise when we neglect our own needs in an effort to accommodate others. Yet the Stoics remind us that we are responsible for our inner state. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect and self-mastery. Imagine a scenario where a colleague continually expects you to handle their workload. At first, you might oblige, thinking it's a one-time favor. But as the pattern repeats, resentment builds. This is where boundaries come into play. By calmly addressing the situation and making it clear what you're willing and unwilling to do, you not only protect your peace, but also communicate your self-worth. Setting boundaries doesn't mean being harsh or unkind. It means recognizing your limits and asserting them with clarity and respect. Epictetus emphasized this when he said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom begins when you take ownership of your emotional and physical space, refusing to let others dictate your actions or reactions. One way to establish healthy boundaries is by learning to say no without guilt. Often we agree to things out of fear of disappointing others, of conflict, or of being seen as selfish. But a boundary isn't selfish. It's a necessary act of care. Each time you assert a boundary, you reinforce your autonomy and strengthen your resilience. It's also important to recognize that not everyone will respect your boundaries immediately. Some people might push back, test your resolve, or even react with anger. This is natural because boundaries challenge the status quo. However, by standing firm, you teach others how to treat you and gradually shift the dynamic to one of mutual respect. Healthy boundaries are a cornerstone of Stoic living because they allow you to focus on what truly matters, your values, goals, and well-being. When you stop giving away your time and energy to things that drain you, you create space for growth and peace. As Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." By setting boundaries, you reclaim that time and use it wisely. So, take a moment to reflect on where you need boundaries in your life. Are there relationships or situations where you feel drained, disrespected, or overwhelmed? Decide today to draw the line. By doing so, you honor yourself and create a life where your energy is spent on what truly aligns with your values. One of the most liberating teachings of Stoicism is the concept of letting go of what you can't control. Epictetus encapsulated this wisdom when he said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." Understanding this simple truth can transform the way you approach anger, stress, and frustration. Often, our anger arises not from external events, but from our futile attempts to control them. Imagine standing on the shore, watching the waves crash against the rocks. No matter how hard you try, you can't stop the waves. You can shout at the ocean, curse the wind, or even shake your fists, but the sea will continue its rhythm. Life is much the same. Events unfold beyond your influence. People make choices, circumstances change, and the unexpected happens. Resisting these realities only leaves you exhausted and angry. Consider this scenario. You're stuck in heavy traffic, late for an important meeting. Your instinct might be to curse the drivers ahead, honk the horn, or grumble about the poor city planning. But does any of this change the situation? The Stoics teach us to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Instead of letting frustration consume you, redirect your energy. Perhaps you use the time to practice deep breathing, listen to an inspiring podcast, or reflect on how you can better prepare next time. Letting go doesn't mean apathy. It means acceptance. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Acceptance is not about giving up. It's about freeing yourself from the futile struggle against the inevitable. When you let go of what you can't control, you make room for clarity, focus, and peace. One way to practice this is by mentally separating what's within your power and what isn't. Write it down if needed. For example, you can control how you respond to criticism, but you can't control someone else's opinion. You can control the effort you put into a project, but you can't control the outcome. By identifying these distinctions, you direct your energy toward actions that matter and release the rest. The Stoics often use the metaphor of the archer. You can aim carefully, draw the bowstring with precision, and release with skill. But once the arrow leaves the bow, its path is subject to the wind, the target, and countless other factors beyond your reach. Your responsibility ends with the effort, not the result. Ultimately, letting go of what you can't control is an act of self-preservation. It protects you from the unnecessary burden of worry and anger. Each time you release your grip on something outside your influence, you reclaim your peace. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. So, the next time you feel anger bubbling up, pause and ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. By focusing on what you can influence and releasing the rest, you'll find a life that's calmer, clearer, and much more aligned with the principles of Stoicism. Life is full of challenges, but the way we perceive them shapes our experience. The Stoics believed that obstacles are not merely disruptions to our plans, but opportunities for growth. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This profound insight reminds us that every difficulty carries within it the seed of transformation. Think about a time when you faced a significant obstacle. Perhaps it was a setback at work, a personal failure, or an unexpected loss. At first, it may have felt like the end of the road, a wall too high to climb. But with time, reflection, and perseverance, that very challenge may have led you to discover strengths you didn't know you had, or opportunities you hadn't considered. The obstacle became a teacher, guiding you toward resilience and creativity. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine you're preparing for a big presentation, and at the last moment, your laptop crashes, taking your slides with it. It's easy to feel defeated or angry at the situation, but what if you shifted your perspective? Instead of seeing the failure as a disaster, you see it as an opportunity to showcase your knowledge and adapt on the fly. By reframing the problem, you transform frustration into a moment of growth. The Stoics emphasized that we should not resist obstacles, but embrace them. Seneca advised, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Obstacles challenge us to think differently, to innovate, and to cultivate virtues like patience, courage, and perseverance. Without these challenges, growth becomes stagnant, and we miss the chance to deepen our character. One way to practice this mindset is to approach every difficulty with curiosity. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this experience make me stronger? By shifting from resistance to acceptance, you open yourself to possibilities you might have otherwise ignored. It's also important to remember that the obstacle is often not as insurmountable as it first appears. When faced with a challenge, break it down into manageable steps. Instead of focusing on the enormity of the problem, focus on the first step you can take. Action, however small, propels you forward and builds momentum. Seeing obstacles as opportunities is not about denying the pain or difficulty they bring. It's about choosing to respond with strength and wisdom rather than despair. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This perspective empowers you to take control, turning every challenge into a stepping stone for growth. So, the next time you encounter an obstacle, remember, this is your chance to rise, to adapt, and to strengthen your character. Embrace the challenge, for it is shaping you into the person you're meant to become. In every setback, there is an opportunity waiting to be discovered. The choice to see it is yours. Forgiveness is one of the most liberating practices you can embrace. It doesn't erase what happened, nor does it excuse harmful behavior. Instead, forgiveness sets you free from the chains of anger and resentment. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca wrote, "How much better to heal than to seek revenge from injury? Vengeance wastes much time and exposes you to many more injuries than the first that sparked it." Holding on to anger feels natural at first. It's our way of protecting ourselves from being hurt again. But over time, this anger becomes a heavy burden. Imagine carrying a sack of stones everywhere you go. Each stone represents a grievance, a wrong someone has done to you. The longer you hold on, the heavier it gets, and soon it weighs down every aspect of your life. Forgiveness is the act of setting that sack down and walking away lighter, freer. Think of a situation where someone betrayed your trust. Perhaps a friend let you down, or a colleague took credit for your work. The sting of that betrayal might have lingered, festering into anger or bitterness. But ask yourself, what does holding on to this anger truly accomplish? Does it bring justice? Does it repair the relationship? Or does it simply keep you trapped in the past, reliving the hurt? Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or allowing someone to hurt you again. It means releasing your emotional attachment to the wrong and reclaiming your peace. As Marcus Aurelius advised, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, "The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil." By accepting human flaws, forgiveness becomes easier. People make mistakes, just as we do. When you choose to forgive, you're not only freeing yourself from anger, but also taking back your power. Resentment ties you to the person who wronged you, while forgiveness severs that tie. You regain control over your emotions and redirect your energy toward what truly matters: your growth, peace, and happiness. Forgiveness also teaches humility. We've all made mistakes, hurt others, and fallen short. When we forgive, we're reminded of our own humanity and imperfections. This mutual understanding fosters compassion, not just for others, but for ourselves. To practice forgiveness, start small. Reflect on minor grievances and consciously let them go. Gradually work toward forgiving deeper wounds, acknowledging that it's a process, not an instant transformation. The act of forgiveness doesn't change the past, but it profoundly shapes your future. So the next time you feel weighed down by anger, remember, forgiveness is not a gift you give to others. It's a gift you give to yourself. By letting go, you create space for peace, clarity, and freedom. As you walk this path, you'll find that life becomes lighter, your heart more open, and your spirit more resilient. Revenge is a tempting path when we've been wronged. The desire to strike back, to make someone feel the pain they inflicted, often feels justified. But the Stoics saw revenge for what it truly is, a hollow pursuit that harms the seeker more than the target. Seneca warned, "Revenge is an admission of pain. It is a confession of your own weakness." Choosing revenge means allowing anger to control you, pulling you away from reason and inner peace. Think of revenge as drinking poison, hoping the other person suffers. The reality is, you're the one who bears the weight of the negativity, resentment, and bitterness. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control what others do, but we can control how we respond. Instead of seeking retaliation, we can rise above, acting in alignment with our values and preserving our integrity. Imagine someone spreading false rumors about you. Your first reaction might be anger, followed by the urge to retaliate. Perhaps by spreading rumors of your own or confronting them in a way designed to embarrass them. But what does this achieve? The cycle of harm continues, and you lower yourself to their level. Instead, what if you chose dignity? Address the situation calmly, if necessary, or let your actions and character speak louder than their words. By refusing to engage in revenge, you maintain your power and show that their behavior cannot define you. Marcus Aurelius taught, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." This means choosing the high road, acting with wisdom and virtue rather than anger. Revenge focuses on the past, keeping you trapped in a cycle of negativity. Foregoing revenge, on the other hand, allows you to move forward, unburdened by the need for vindication. Letting go of revenge doesn't mean condoning harmful actions or being passive in the face of injustice. It means seeking justice through the right channels and focusing on constructive outcomes rather than destruction. Justice seeks resolution and balance, while revenge seeks harm. When you act with justice, you align with Stoic principles of fairness and virtue. Revenge also blinds us to opportunities for growth. Every challenge, even one caused by another's wrongdoing, is a chance to strengthen our character. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you choose forgiveness and self-mastery over revenge, you transform the pain into a stepping stone for personal growth. So, when you feel the pull of vengeance, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, will this action bring me peace, or will it keep me bound to the hurt? The answer is clear. Revenge is not the answer. True strength lies in mastering yourself, not in conquering others. Choose to rise above, and you'll find that the peace of mind and dignity you gain far outweighs any fleeting satisfaction revenge might bring. The Stoics often emphasize that our greatest battles are fought within. It is not external events or other people that harm us most, but how we respond to them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Protecting your soul means safeguarding your inner peace from the corrosive effects of anger, resentment, and negativity. Self-harm doesn't always take the form of physical actions. It's often emotional and mental. When we allow anger to fester or replay past wrongs in our minds, we inflict wounds upon ourselves. These wounds may not be visible, but they affect our well-being, relationships, and overall quality of life. The Stoics understood that our thoughts shape our reality, and by mastering our inner dialogue, we protect our most valuable asset, our peace of mind. Consider a situation where someone criticizes you harshly, perhaps unfairly. The initial sting of their words is natural, but what happens next? is within your control. You can replay their comments endlessly, allowing them to erode your confidence and happiness, or you can choose to let them go. Seneca advised, "You may fetter my leg, but my will, not even Zeus himself can overpower that." This is a reminder that while others may provoke, your inner response is yours alone to command. One of the most effective ways to protect your soul is through self-awareness. By recognizing your triggers and observing your emotions without judgment, you create a buffer between yourself and impulsive reactions. This practice, rooted in Stoic mindfulness, helps you identify when anger or negativity begins to creep in, allowing you to address it before it takes root. Another important practice is self-compassion. Just as you would offer understanding to a friend in pain, extend that same kindness to yourself. Often, the harshest words we hear are the ones we direct inwardly. By replacing self-criticism with patience and encouragement, you create a nurturing environment within, one that shields you from unnecessary suffering. The Stoics also taught the value of focusing on what truly matters. When you prioritize your values and align your actions with them, you create a sense of purpose that guards against negativity. As Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." When your soul is anchored in simplicity and virtue, external chaos loses its power over you. Protecting your soul requires consistent effort, but it's a practice that pays profound dividends. Each time you choose patience over anger, forgiveness over resentment, and understanding over judgment, you strengthen your inner fortress. This isn't about suppressing emotions, but mastering them, ensuring they serve your growth rather than hinder it. So as you navigate life's challenges, remember this: your peace is your responsibility. Guard it fiercely, nurture it daily, and refuse to let external forces disrupt it. By protecting your soul, you not only enhance your own life, but also radiate a sense of calm and wisdom that positively influences those around you. The Stoics often emphasized the power of a measured response over an impulsive reaction. In the words of Epictetus, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." A reaction is immediate, often fueled by emotion and lacking forethought, while a response is deliberate, guided by reason and aligned with your values. Learning to respond instead of reacting is a cornerstone of self-mastery and emotional resilience. Picture a moment when someone said something that provoked you, a rude comment, a thoughtless remark. Your instinct might have been to snap back, defending yourself or retaliating with equal sharpness. But think about what that reaction achieved. Did it resolve the conflict, or did it escalate it? Now imagine if, instead, you paused and responded with calm clarity. How different might that situation have been? When you react impulsively, you surrender your power to the moment. You let external events dictate your behavior. Responding, however, allows you to reclaim control. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This means that the space between stimulus and response is where your freedom lies. Developing the habit of responding rather than reacting requires mindfulness. Begin by practicing the art of the pause. When faced with a provoking situation, take a deep breath. This simple act creates a moment of clarity, giving your rational mind a chance to engage before emotions take over. It's in this pause that you can evaluate your options and choose the course of action that best aligns with your principles. For example, imagine a coworker criticizing your work during a meeting. Your reaction might be to immediately defend yourself, perhaps even pointing out their flaws in retaliation. However, by pausing, you give yourself the chance to assess the situation objectively. Is their critique valid? Can it be addressed constructively? Responding might mean calmly asking for clarification or suggesting a follow-up conversation to resolve the issue. This approach not only de-escalates the tension, but also reinforces your professionalism and self-control. The Stoics understood that responding with wisdom requires training the mind to prioritize long-term outcomes over immediate gratification. Anger, frustration, and pride often demand instant action, but these reactions rarely serve us in the long run. By choosing to respond thoughtfully, you not only protect your peace, but also strengthen your relationships and your reputation. Over time, responding instead of reacting becomes second nature. Each time you practice the pause, you rewire your brain to favor reason over impulse. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. It means channeling them in a way that aligns with your highest self. So, the next time you feel the pull of an emotional reaction, remember this: you are not a slave to your impulses. You have the power to choose how you respond. With practice, this choice becomes your default, and you'll find that your life flows with greater ease, clarity, and harmony. One of the most powerful tools for managing anger is shifting your focus from immediate gratification to long-term outcomes. The Stoics taught us that wise decisions are rooted in a broader perspective. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Consider how swiftly all things are dissolved and resolved." This perspective reminds us to look beyond the heat of the moment and consider the bigger picture. Anger thrives on immediacy. It demands action, reaction, and resolution in the now. But reacting impulsively often leads to consequences that ripple far beyond the moment. Think of a heated argument where you let anger dictate your words. The temporary relief of winning the moment can give way to regret, damaged relationships, and lingering tension. When you focus on long-term outcomes, you begin to ask, will this action serve me tomorrow, next month, or in the years to come? Imagine a disagreement with a close friend over something trivial. Your initial instinct might be to argue your point fiercely, unwilling to back down. But when you consider the relationship as a whole, you may realize that preserving harmony is more important than proving you're right. This shift in perspective transforms the way you approach the conflict, allowing you to act with wisdom and restraint. The Stoics believed in aligning actions with values, and this principle is crucial when navigating anger. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." By focusing on long-term outcomes, you prioritize actions that align with your higher self, rather than succumbing to fleeting emotions. This doesn't mean ignoring anger, but using it as a signal to guide your response thoughtfully. A helpful practice for maintaining this focus is visualization. Before responding in a moment of anger, visualize the potential consequences of your actions. Will your words or actions bring resolution, or will they escalate the conflict? Will they strengthen your character, or will they compromise your integrity? This mental exercise helps ground you in reason and clarity. Long-term thinking also involves patience. Many conflicts and frustrations resolve themselves with time, requiring no immediate action on your part. By stepping back and allowing events to unfold, you often find that situations lose their intensity and solutions become clearer. Seneca wisely observed, "Time discovers truth." Trusting this process can save you from unnecessary turmoil. By focusing on the long term, you free yourself from the trap of instant gratification that anger often demands. You create a life guided by purpose, intention, and alignment with your values. Each time you choose patience and foresight, you build resilience and deepen your self-mastery. So, when anger threatens to consume you, pause and ask yourself, how will this choice affect my future? By grounding your actions in long-term outcomes, you ensure that even your most challenging moments serve as stepping stones toward a life of greater wisdom, peace, and fulfillment. As we come to the end of this journey through Stoic strategies for managing anger, let's take a moment to reflect on the wisdom we've explored. Anger, while a natural human emotion, need not control or define us. Through the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, and other great Stoic minds, we've uncovered tools to transform anger into growth, clarity, and inner peace. Remember, anger doesn't arise from the events themselves, but from our interpretation of them. By choosing reflection over reaction, setting boundaries, and focusing on what we can control, we reclaim our power. By forgiving others and seeing obstacles as opportunities, we strengthen our character. These practices, though simple in essence, are profound in their ability to reshape our lives. Let this episode serve as a reminder that mastery over anger is not about suppressing it, but understanding and guiding it. As the Stoics teach, every challenge is an opportunity to align with reason, virtue, and resilience. Your journey toward a calmer, more deliberate life begins with small, intentional steps. Every time you pause, reflect, or choose patience, you're not just managing anger, you're cultivating the best version of yourself. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of Stoic philosophy. If this episode resonated with you, please consider subscribing to the Stoic Saga channel and sharing this content with others who may find it valuable. Together, let's continue to grow, reflect, and strive for lives filled with wisdom, strength, and peace.